Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
Lock sell.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fine.
Good morning, everybody. Well, oh wait, hold on. You know what happened was I tried to restart my machine last night and, then leave and apparently it didn't restart. And so a bunch of things are not running. So the music is not ready. No. Wait, where are we? Okay. Let's try this again. Pretend that we're just starting the stream, okay? Oh, I want it to be that one. All right, good morning, everybody. Well, I think we've got an interesting day ahead of us. It is a Federal Reserve meeting today, but we're also still getting a lot of headlines from Iran. Also, just had a really big sweep down. I am not quite sure what drove that, but that kind of looked like maybe a breaking news headline that just came. So let's try and let's come and look at the charts. So we are higher today in the treasuries. Interestingly enough, it was a pretty aggressive sell in the morning, but they recovered. Wait, hold on a second. Oh, they were saying something, but I guess not. Okay. S&P 500 just a little bit lower. There hasn't been as much movement over here. Oil, still going higher. Oil. Okay, gold, flat, silver, giving back a little bit of the gains. Kappa kind of the same, just kind of trucking along there. And maybe a little bit of flight to safety bid in the Japanese yen, but the dollar also up in 98. So I think the dollar is one to really, really watch, because everybody and their dog is short the dollar. So if something happens, those shorts are just going to get crushed. This is what happens: is everybody gets short the dollar, and then the dollar doesn't go down, and they'll get screwed. Okay, and here's Bitcoin coming down towards the bottom end of that channel, 105,000. Interesting. Okay, so I was going to say we getting stuff from Iran, but more pressing matter first. Question for you guys. Serious question. Wait, you got to look at the screen. I'll give you 5 seconds. Look at the screen. How ridiculous do these new headphones make me look? Is it too much? I tell you what, they sound great. My voice sounds great in these headphones. I'm really, really liking it. I kind of feel like it's a bit much. So I was looking, I was like, wait, when I was looking at them, they're kind of great. They have that techno vibe. Okay. A-Paul likes it. I was looking at their marketing materials. Wait, where is it? Yeah, this right here. I come back out. Right. I was looking at their marketing materials. I'm like, when I was looking at it didn't look that ridiculous. But then I realized, wait, all of the pictures are from the side. None of their pictures are of somebody wearing it. Right? See, from the side. They're all wearing it from the side. You didn't notice it until I mentioned it. You're an alien. They pop out from your head so much. As soon as I put them on, I'm like, why did I expect anything different? Headphones with drivers that big are gonna pop out from your head a ton and make you look weird. I love it when the website do that on purpose, but at the same time, that depth is the only way you can fit certain drivers that will produce low frequency as well. Yeah. So these headphones are not as bass heavy as I thought and or am used to. Like the Pioneers that I had, they're pretty bass heavy. But part of it is that my Focusrite Scarlett 2nd gen is not really quite hefty enough to really drive them the way that they probably should be. If I plug the headphones into my DJ audio interface, it sounds a lot better. And then I kind of get more of the boom that I want. So obviously it's not as good as the subwoofer, but yeah, they are studio headphones. Don't think they are designed to be going in public with them. Well, my idea was I want headphones that I can wear during the stream, that I can wear for relatively long periods of time, but that I can still do audio producing with when I can't use my studio monitors. That was my thinking. Okay. So that's why I got closed back studio headphones, sort of a thing, right? And now that I have them, I'm like, you know what? These are not really very good for streaming. They're just not. Because they don't look as good. Those, what was the ones that I had? I can't even remember the name of it. It was really good, but the headband was too long. Those looked amazing. Those looked amazing. These I don't know. So the fact that you guys were saying, "Oh, I didn't notice it until you mentioned it," makes me be like, "Okay, maybe we can deal. Maybe we can deal. Maybe it's not that distracting." Especially like I'm just gonna look. I'm gonna look at the screen here. Keep my eye on the DOM. They are selling it here, by the way. You know, and it will look fine and nobody will notice, right? I don't know. But like the whole thing is, because of the look, I'm kind of my thinking now is, I think I had it all wrong. I think that if I wanted nice studio headphones, that I should be getting open back headphones and then have a set of headphones just for monitoring the microphone that aren't anything special, like could be those old Sonys that have been around forever, right? I don't know. We're gonna give it at least a week. Gonna give it at least a week and see how I feel about it. I'm kind of thinking, because I don't think I'm very likely to send these back and then actually do that and go and get a pair of open back headphones and a pair of monitoring headphones. I think I may just keep these ones and then get the Sonys, you know? I don't know. Man, they're selling this pretty good. I do not see, so I haven't heard anything through Financial Juice. I'll make sure that I got everything set up here. Oh, yeah, I had the speakers turned on. That would have been bad. Okay, so let's talk about Iran now. Here's what I'm hearing coming out of Iran. I read a story. So if you go, well, actually, let's come and look. On the Donald Trump websites. Oh, it's not there anymore. The top story over here was that some hackers hacked into Iran's public bank or whatever, and there was like no money there. So they were suggesting that the generals and other leaders within the country had already run off with the money, which is absolutely something that happens when a country is collapsing. I am taking that one with a grain of salt because it was not coming from a very reputable source. So there's that. But then the other thing that I'm hearing is that the Ayatollah, I don't know how you say his name, Khamenei, that he has been having a nervous breakdown. And that's been coming from Israeli intelligence sources. So that's one that's kind of like, I don't think that you can necessarily just straight up believe everything that comes out of Israeli intelligence. But everything that I've seen from them has been that they very much try to provide you accurate information, even if it's a little bit biased. And that they wouldn't want to, risk their reputation. That would kind of destroy the point of them being around and sharing stuff with us. So, because it was you heard leaks in different outlets first, and then it started coming from more official Israeli sources.
At the top of the hour,
he was having a full-on mental breakdown, and that the country's leaders were, military leaders, were cutting him out of conversations and not really revealing the full extent of things to him. Then this morning when I was browsing on TikTok, and I would consider this one more rumor, but the rumor is that he is stepping down and giving complete control of the country over to one of his military leaders. So that's the rumor mill. Okay. Meanwhile, we are, I believe we are still awaiting comments from Khamenei, right? Israeli military says it's attacking military targets in Tehran. Iran is now launching missiles from deeper within its territory. That creates a long-range requirement of 16,000 kilometers, limiting Iran to the use of its liquid propellant ballistic missiles. We never talked about jobless claims. Let's see, what was jobless claims? Jobless claims 245 versus 245 expected. And continued jobless claims a little bit higher, but not as high as last time. Who is he? Yes, Iran's supreme leader. The religious leader, really. Because they have a president, and that's apparently somebody different. I have to say one thing about these headphones, man, because they are heavy. I forget the size, but when I was going through all the stuff, these were significantly heavier than anything else. And I am really not noticing. They sit and balance on your head so well. Really kind of interesting. Because when I had the Barry Dynamics, they were so heavy and it hurt my head. This I'm barely even noticing. Though I am kind of wondering if I'm getting the optimal spot on the top of my head. I think that where it's at right now should be good. I don't know. I'm browsing through here on Twitter, and I'm not really seeing headline. Nor am I seeing anything that, Khamenei did tweet recently. I thought that we were going to get comments from him, and it doesn't look like we've gotten that yet. So I think we're still waiting for that. Uzi says he already spoke. No, do you maybe have a link or can just summarize what he said? Yeah, am I saying it wrong? Probably saying it wrong. This is one of those things where, because I don't watch cable news anymore, I've not seen anybody say some of these words, so I don't really know how they're said. Former Iranian minister threatens transit restrictions. Doge is working jobless claims in deep tri-state surge to 4-year high. It looks like things are going to get hot in the central U.S. Okay, here Uzi has a link for us. Iran can resist the West. The plans the Americans have proposed are 100% against us. These remarkable scientific advancements, these impressive technological achievements, these vital defense capabilities, we didn't believe they were possible. They used to say it can be done. The Iranian nation can. The next principle is the principle of resistance. Okay, so not... It sounds like he didn't really say anything all that important, huh? But there, and it looks like he did it. Did he really do it in front of a big crowd? And they're showing the crowd there. So, I don't know. Did he give the speech in English? I was hearing English there. That would kind of contradict the rumor mill that I'm hearing that he's like stepping down. Although perhaps that could be something that's not official, right? But so the other thing is last night, they were saying that they were about to do something that the world would remember for centuries. Okay. Okay. Like Iran has a tendency to say those sorts of things and like, it's a dud. So like, I wouldn't hold my breath. It's all AI generated, you think? Yeah. When I watch this, I do kind of wonder if it was actually done, really actually done in front of a crowd. But I don't know. Looks real to me. I don't see any like government sources questioning its authenticity. So any action from the U.S. will be met with irreparable damage to the USA. Okay. I do think if the U.S. uses bunker busters, that's what I'm waiting for. I'm sitting here thinking any day now, the U.S. is going to give Israel bunker busters. I think it's probably that the U.S. would still fire them, but that they will use bunker busters. And then Iran will respond, which will probably mean attacking U.S. bases in the region. There could be the loss of U.S. life. But, I don't know, like, did you see the tweets yesterday from Donald Trump? He was like talking gangster stuff. It was crazy. Some of the tweets from Donald Trump are really like, of course, it's always kind of a little amusing to me, the way that Donald Trump tweets, because he just DGAF. He just doesn't give a. But these ones were like particularly gangster and threatening on his platform, you know, on Truth Social. So the way he's talking really makes me think that like it's only a matter of days and the U.S. will use the bunker busters. But what am I to say? Well, I really wish I knew what kind of drove that really short sweep. Also, why did the treasuries like bid up so much going into the news? So, a lot of curious action. And this, I tell you what, the whole setup today is going to make it really, really hard for us to really understand what's going on, because you're going to have a Federal Reserve meeting, but you might see contradictory action because there's so much going on with the geopolitics. And then tomorrow it's a holiday, and then it's Friday. So like, where does that put us? It's going to be, yeah. So we might not get a clear view of what the market thinks of the Federal Reserve meeting. Like, normally it's like a wait a day or two, then I make a conclusion. But this time I might just not be able to make many conclusions. But we'll see. Maybe there ends up being a really strong reaction to something that he says and all these sorts of things. The market there is definitely some signs of some hawkishness. I tell you what, one of the things I'm seeing on the economic side that is kind of a little bit contradictory to me is, well, it seems that we have not really seen a whole lot of impacts from tariffs yet. Mostly what we saw was people front running the tariffs. But like the supposed inflation in particular has not come. Now, we probably haven't seen the effects. There's probably still some more time. So this was where like for inflation, we were supposed to have seen the inflation by now. It hasn't come. But what I'm hearing anecdotally, I caught myself that time, didn't I? What I'm seeing anecdotally is companies cannot raise prices because consumers cannot afford the higher price. And so what companies are doing instead is reducing headcount, layoffs, etc., etc. So it could be that we do get effects from tariffs way, way, way delayed in the form of a much weaker labor market. And you're definitely seeing that right now, like the hiring rate is super, super low. So, if that is what we're going to see happen, that would kind of suggest that you would want to cut rates. But the market continues to act on the short term that they don't think that that's going to happen. A lot of time those sweeps I'm noticing coincide with incoming options volume. Yeah, so the thing with the options is that I would expect there to be a pretty close one-to-one relationship between volume in the options and volume in the futures, right? Like if I'm coming in and I'm taking on volume in options, I'm taking on inventory in the options, I'm going to be coming in and taking on inventory in the actual treasuries and hedging it and whatnot, right? So it would probably be more useful to be like situations when I see a ton of volume in the options and not in the futures, or a ton of volume in the futures and not in the options, or negative correlations between each other, or let's not say I'm only looking for that, but whether that volume is correlated or anti-correlated, right? Like I saw a lot of buying in the options, but there was actually selling in the futures. I think that would probably be less common, but that would maybe be like the market maker, somebody bought, market maker took on a lot of short inventory, so they have to come in and go short the treasury futures to hedge it, right? So there could probably be a lot of really complicated metrics we could do on that sort of stuff. But just as you're watching it, I think that probably what we'd be most interested in is a situation where there's stuff in one and not the other. Well, Treasuries may be reverting back to 111 even. I mean, that's one thing is we've spent a lot of time at 111 lately, haven't we? Why do I keep seeing stuff on Reddit about Elon Musk drug test results? Why would Elon post that? You really think that if he posted that online that people would believe it? No, saying, I mean, doesn't matter to me whether it was or not, but you just know that you post something like that, everybody on the internet's going to say it's fake. Come on. You're an internet native, Elon. You should know better. Now, maybe he knew, but he wanted to post it anyways. I don't know. You want to see some funny stuff? The first position we ever opened in our portfolio was US Steel in 2019. And you still have it? Because they've been on a tear lately. And I don't know if they've been on a tear. They've been doing interesting stuff lately, haven't they? Oh, yeah, I averaged the position down and exited at $10 a share. Okay, let's go look. Let's go look. Okay. I'm guessing you were reminded by that because we were talking about Twitter. They are at, what is this? I can't see. Almost 55. Man, you missed a 5Xer. A 5-bagger. Could be worse. Could be worse. They were bought by Nippon Steel. Well, let's look. Oh, okay. That's right. They will acquire US Steel for $55 a share. Have you talked about nuclear plays? Oklo as a poster child for. Okay. So, well, we haven't gone through it in a while, but. Oh, I have to log in. Hold on a second. Honestly, the movement of individual Plays in the stock market lately haven't been as interesting to me. Because you continue to get this effect where, like, the big seven are like all the gains. It really irritates me, to be honest. My watch list not gonna load. Please wait while your watch list loads. That is a cool animation. I don't know why it took so long to load, but I just hit refresh and now it pulls up. So here you got your nuclear plays. Most of the nuclear plays on this one, like URA, are kind of more about uranium. Okay, so uranium stocks have been doing pretty okay this year. BWXT, what they do is they kind of make some of the technologies inside of the nuclear reactors, particularly as it pertains to materials. So if these liquid molten salt reactors become a thing, BWXT is probably somebody that would really benefit. Let's bring this out here because a lot of these plays are up pretty big over the past year. BWXT, it's up 30% over the past month and 56% over the past year, but that has become a relatively volatile stock. That one's probably one of my biggest regrets. Let's come back to here. Right. So if I had bought that in 2020-ish, let's say 50, and it's now almost, oh, okay, so maybe a 3Xer. That's pretty darn good. And that had been on my list for a while. And I went with safer names. I should have bought that one. Now this one, Cameco, I don't even remember what that one is about, but holy crap, they are up 500% over the past 5 years. That pretty darn good. But the big one right now is SMR, up 62% over the last month. Let's go look at a chart of that one. Because we've been pulling this one up on stream quite a bit. And I think it was around here. Was it? Yeah, last December when I was like, well, I don't know if you buy it here. It came back down to 15, and you know, maybe if I hadn't been out of a job, maybe I would have bought it here in this time. I'm kind of waiting on permanent resolution. I still haven't heard. They want to hire me, but HR is still like working on it or something, because I haven't gotten an offer from them or anything yet. So I'm kind of keeping everything tight until that happens. But I totally should have done it. That could have been, you know, so over a year, it says it's, or over a month, it's up 60%. But like where I was thinking of buying it, it would have been almost 250% winner. It would have been a good one. Because the whole thing with this one was when it came out, I was like, oh, I missed out on it. You know, what really you'd have to get in on the initial offering, and I wasn't, and so now maybe the gains are past and it's not worth it. Now it's way up there, man. So I don't know. But I think that nuclear is doing really, really well this year. Even though I'm not super invested in it, this was still the area that I was the most interested in. I think that if I had been in any of these plays, I would maybe be taking a little bit off, just as some profits and using that to put into something else. So I think I can still consider it a victory. And the driver here is that the Trump administration has been much more interested and vocal about investing in nuclear energy. And on top of that, China has been making big strides in nuclear reactors. They do not have all of the roadblocks in place, and they've been developing the technology further and showing how valuable it can really be. You need energy right now. The best way to do it would be to invest in nuclear power. Now, with that said, there are plenty of other stocks on my watch list that have done well, especially over 5 years. So, although on the past month, I doubt there's anything higher than the new nuclear. Well, First Majestic. I do own that one. I haven't looked in a while. I'm probably still down on my First Majestic position, but it's also one where I kind of screwed up, I think. Like, I immediately had a huge gain, and I should have taken it off right then and there. And I was like, oh, this is great. Now we can hold this for years and make tons of money. No. Nope. Or like with rare earth minerals, rare earth resources. I've caught pops on that several times, and then didn't know that there was a offering coming through. And have you tried CME data mine in Python? I have found the library on GitHub, and it promises for. Oh no, I have not seen that. I have gotten some big data sets from the CME though. Okay, let's see here. I don't know if I should actually pull this one out. Yeah. It's still like a $200 loss on First Majestic. I think that sorry, what's the ticker? AG. I think that they pulled one of those sneakies on me here as well, where they like they did an offering or something like that, and so they came down much further than silver did, because you can see here, like, okay, silver's been up big the past month, right? But is First Majestic back up to those highs? No. When you first started trading treasuries, what persuaded you to pick ZN? Well, so when I first started, I wanted to do ZB because you got the best tick to commission ratio. And what I found was that I kept getting my ass handed to me when I traded ZB. And I talked to, John Grady. And he said, you know, the order flow works a lot better on ZN. And then once you get a hang of it, you can graduate to ZB. But ZN is where the flow happens that you really want to pay attention to and where these setups are the most useful. So I moved over to ZN and I did a lot better on ZN. And since that time, I now understand the research and what's going on and so forth. And it's absolutely the case that the order flow in ZN is the most important. So you want to have ZN in the middle and keep your eyes here in the middle, even if you're trading the other ones. So that's why ZN. And I think over time, as we've been doing this, that my goals have kind of shifted, right? So when I started this, I think I started with the same kinds of ideas and aspirations that most retail traders do, right? That I want to make this my living. I want to get super rich from doing this, that sort of a thing. And I think I realized pretty quickly how unrealistic that was. That even when I was doing well, that I wasn't going to be making millions of dollars unless I had started with millions of dollars, right? And so my goals have shifted kind of less towards making as much money as I can trading and more towards understanding the market as much as possible and providing good content for you guys. And I think that in terms of, you know, what instrument do I focus on the most? I think that the most value I can provide on the stream is providing you guys insight into ZN. Now, I still want to be the best trader I can be, but the stream is kind of in an interim period where we might not be taking as much risks for the next few years. At least not as much risk in day trades. And probably more risk on swing trades, which was probably always, you know, my idea was always day trade and get really good at that and then try swing trades. Well, I do feel like that I've gotten pretty good at scalping, even if you don't make a ton of money from it. So it is kind of time to graduate to more swing plays. And with the way that we're only able to be around for 90 minutes now, the stream is only 90 minutes long. I'm going to have to be more swing trades. Okay, I just got a report on the news squawk that Israel is going to be attacking Iran's supreme leader headquarters. No market reaction to that, but that sounds significant. At least my initial impression of that is that's significant. Oh, I missed Brad's comment here. The whole windmill crap is just that crap. They need to get rid of all the windmills in the ocean. I really think that there are ecological costs to solar and wind that are not talked about. Because I think that part of the whole driver here, where here's that news, it was just over the news squawk. We'll probably be seeing it on Twitter here soon. Although Twitter's just slower. Oh nope, here it is on on Twitter. Israel is reportedly attacking Iran's supreme leader underground headquarters, says reports on X. Oh, okay. So there's a report on X that's saying that. They're not linking it. So it could be rumor. It's not an official one yet. Man, I don't want to make... I'm thinking about the headphones still. I don't want to make like any huge conclusions right away. But I'm already thinking like... Yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to keep these. Except for, you know what, though? I'm forgetting, there's one thing. Is when I was testing them last night, one of the things that I did was so first I listened to a couple of songs I'm really familiar with to see how they sounded. And then I was like, okay, let's try it on my own songs. So I pulled up a couple of my own songs, and I was switching between my headphones and the studio monitors, and I made a couple of really good tweaks to the mixes on my songs. Some things where there was things about those songs that I was really unhappy with, and I couldn't quite figure out why it didn't quite work, what was wrong. And I was able to figure out what was going on and adjust them very quickly with the new headphones. So that's why I kept thinking like, maybe I'll just keep them in. I'll get a separate set of headphones just for the stream. So that's the other thing. If I'm only going to wear them for 90 minutes, like, yeah. The studio part maybe matters more. I don't know. I tell you what, guys, I have too many questions in my life right now, I think. I just don't know where it's going. What's the question? Well, so I've been doing a contract job for 3 months. They want to hire me on. It remains to be seen whether they will give me a full-time offer, and if that full-time offer will be a number that I'm willing to accept. So I'm doing a lot of work for them. I'm working really hard for them. Not necessarily. I think that your tendency would be, oh, because I'm a contractor and I want to impress them for them to hire me on full time, I got to work extra hard. But I haven't really been doing that. Instead, what's been happening is they just have so much work to do, and what I'm doing is like in such a good position to help them that I'm just trugging along and taking things out, and it's great. I really like it when I feel like I'm getting things done. Because I don't think that I necessarily get the same kind of reward that other people do from getting things done. But I've always felt that earlier in my life that I didn't get things done. And so when I'm in that mode, that's a really big positive for me, right? So there's that. And then there's what do we do with the stream, right? So if I continue to do that job, then where does the YouTube channel go from here? Probably the stream will become less a part of the channel, just because it's only going to be 90 minutes. It's not going to drive the viewers and things like that like it used to. So I'm going to have to rely more on one-off videos, which I will not have as much time to do. I'll only have the time on the weekend to do. So there's some uncertainty about the channel, and that kind of goes into the larger direction, like the big kind of ideas and videos that I wanted to get out to you guys, I've done. That doesn't mean that I don't have other videos to plan. I have tons of videos and scripts to do. It's just like those things don't feel as important to me. Time to shut it down? Could do. I mean, it could be. I don't think that I ever would ever shut it down. But we could definitely be going into hibernation, But that again, that comes back to the job thing, right? Like if they come back and they give me the right offer, then I could, that allows me to safely commit, that like this is going to be the place where I spend the next major section of my career, next 5 to 10 years, right? Then it's a different thing, right? Then we have to be like, I guess we do kind of have to change the stream takes a backseat. I think with the YouTube channel and the trading and everything, I always try and really think really, really long term. So I'm not thinking what's going to happen a year or two from now. I don't think, oh, well, we've been around for 7 years. That's super, super long time. Because my intention is for the stream to go 20 or 30 years, So even if we go through a period where I'm not able to be on as much and or not able to make as much content, I still am, continue to build with the intention that some long time from now, I'll be able to put more, So there's that. There's also family things because, one of my children is autistic and we're not sure how autistic he is. And a lot of our attention is watching him. So I don't know if a year or two from now, it used to be, oh, okay, once both of the boys are over 3, then it should be fine. Then that would be now, where I thought I should be able to relax. But I can't, because Asher just will create the most incredible, amazing mess at a moment's notice. So you just can't take your eye off of him. So there's like really, really big questions here. So big questions with the career, with the YouTube channel, and with the family. That are all kind of questions that I can't really do anything about. I can't resolve today, So I find that frustrating. Well, one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot lately, for some reason, YouTube has started to show me Elliot Hulse again. You guys know Elliot Hulse? Guy is effing crazy. He is genuinely crazy. He got popular being like a fitness YouTuber, and he's kind of shifted into more life advice kind of stuff. And I'm not necessarily sure that I would like super recommend him for life advice, but at the same time, every once in a while, he gives really, really good, insightful things. Right now, he's become super Christian. He's like, I really think he's ADHD, and he shifts between different things. Like he's had all different sets of beliefs and things like that. But right now, he's like all in on the Christian thing, and a lot of his content, he ties it back into Christian themes, which for me is usually a turnoff. Both because, I would prefer to get advice that's like empirically backed, I guess, but then also like that kind of content usually doesn't speak to me because Mormon culture is fundamentally different from Christian culture. Like a lot of the beliefs are pretty similar and everything, but like the culture is just different. So it doesn't resonate for me. Right. But his thing lately has been that it's all about your presence. And he was talking, he's talking about like, yeah, just not as empirically back though. Hello. Anyways, so he keeps talking like, oh, I've been talking to this guy, and he feels like he's on the treadmill. He feels like other YouTube creators. Oh, he had a lot of success. And then you have to continue to put out good content and stay on top to continue making tons of money through YouTube. And it sucks. He's totally right. And when he talks about that, man, that resonates with me so strongly. Like, having a YouTube channel is not what it's cracked up to be. It's a ton of work. It's almost like digital slavery in many respects. Like, there's a few people that get really big from it, yeah, but most content creators don't really get that much out of it. It's certainly not equivalent to the amount of effort that they put in. And he says, well, and then there's this whole thing about AI, that like AI is going to come in and replace everything. And so his solution to it is that what really matters is just your presence. So I don't know, like, logically speaking, that doesn't really make sense to me. Why is people going to care that you're just around when they can get the same stuff from an AI? But emotionally, like, it makes sense. Emotionally, it's like, yes, what you need to do, Seth, is not worry so much about what you're accomplishing and what you're doing, how much value you're actually giving people from day to day, in terms of, like, you know, you don't have to be giving people game-changing information every day to make the stream a worthwhile venture. That merely your presence is valuable. That, you know, and I think that there is some real insight into that. Like, I think that most of you guys that are here every day, you might have started because of the information that you were getting, or a YouTube video that you saw that you thought was really, really useful, or because you're day trading and you started trading treasuries or whatever. But I think that it is the presence that probably keeps most of you that are here every day coming back, right? And so I need to focus on that more. And that's like really all I can do until these other questions resolve themselves, right? And like, bigger picture, like more spiritually speaking, I do think that I got interested in this stuff and was led to making YouTube content for a reason. And so I'm not quite sure where it's going now, but I have to just trust that I continue to do my thing, that God will reveal the way, what it is that we're supposed to do next. There are some things that aren't done yet, though, right? The world does not understand that financial markets are not informationally efficient, and the practical implications of that. So we do still have some work to do. Amir says, I'm very scared that the US will join this war. You know what? So we were having this argument on Discord last night. Because there's a few guys on the Discord that are very much into the ultra-conservative, isolationist, anti-industrial military complex sort of thing, right? And it really kind of irks me, to be honest. I think one of the groups of political people that you'll run into online that drive me nuts the most are the far-right conservative isolationists. I just on two levels. One, I just think that they're, well, actually, let me say three levels. It's always one of those things where it's like, oh, well, here's the numbers, and then you keep adding more. I'm going to say three levels, okay? The first one is I don't think that their ideas really make, like, very much sense. That it's like, well, it doesn't concern us, we shouldn't be dealing with it, and we should just avoid all of these things, and then the military-industrial complex wouldn't be as big of a thing, and everything would be fine. And I don't think it works out that way. I think that Iran becomes your problem one way or another. Because the reality is that Iran has been at war with the United States since its inception, essentially. So, and they've caused a lot of harm in the world. I would rather take care of it now while it's still a relatively small issue, rather than, like, let them have a nuclear weapon and then become a big problem, right? So that's where it's like, I just don't think that it's a very good position. But I also don't think that their position makes very much sense either. That's just the second level. Is like the arguments that they use to justify it and everything always seem to me to require a lot of frankly, ignorance. and just like wanton ignorance, where you really have to be putting your head in the sand to be saying some of the things that they say. But the third level, though, is I think it takes a certain type of person to push against something that is so ill-fated to begin with. I know there's a way better way to say that, but you know what I mean? Like, if that's a position, the crusade that you're going to take, that we need to defeat the military-industrial complex, and the world would be better off if we can just defeat that thing, and then we can have peace on Earth, and everything will be hunky-dory. But knowing that, like, it never goes that way, and you're going to pick that fight anyways, is kind of like a really fatalist take. And the kind of person that does that, I'm not necessarily saying like it's a bad thing to be that way, but I don't like to be around them. I think that it harms my ability to be an effective trader. I think that because to be an effective trader, you really have to take the world as it is, and take the world as it is likely to be, rather than what you would like it to be. And you know, we do want to invest in things that we believe in, but we also need to make money, you know? And when I see a lot of those guys, especially on the Discord, it bothers me because I'm like, well, they're talking to these guys isn't going to lead anybody to better trading or better investing decisions or more efficient markets. So I dislike it for those reasons. But what happens is these guys, because of that position, they really create a bubble. There are certain news sources and information that they willfully reject, that they do not listen to, and so they just don't know anything about what's going on, actually. So what happened last night was they were talking about this, and there was a bunch of things where they're like, well, we don't really know that. And it was like, no, yes, we do. So the big one was, did the United States know that Israel was going to attack Iran before it happened? And was the United States involved in the initial attacks in any way? And the answer is yes. The United States knew, and they assisted Israel. They gave Israel intelligence that helped them make the initial strikes, and they were in regular contact with the Israelis during the negotiations with Iran. The Israelis knew when the negotiations were going south and told the U.S. that they were going to strike, and then the U.S. modified its behavior during the talks in order to lead Iran to believe that Israel would not strike if the talks broke down. So Iran didn't move their leaders around and all of these things, and that's why Israel was able to take out so much of the leadership at the very beginning. Was because of deception that the United States played a direct part in. And then what happened was, and this is all confirmed information now at this point, and then what happened was when the strikes happened and they asked, is the U.S. involved in any way? And Rubio said no, but he was lying. He knew that they had been involved in that stuff. He was directly involved, but he was saying no because, operation was still in progress and he didn't want to give away the game. So Rubio lied. And these guys on Discord didn't know that. So the Iran ambassador mentioned that if they find that the U.S. has been involved directly, they will attack. Well, it kind of depends on what their level of involvement is, right? But the Iranians know at this point as well that they got played. They straight up got played. They did. But the United States has not so for instance, if the United States used a bunker buster, that would definitely be getting them directly involved, right? But if the United States were to give Israel a bunker buster, is that possible? Does Israel have the ability to fire bunker busters? Can the United States give them bunker busters? I don't know. But that would kind of be the same thing, right? So you believe this is the right move to kill innocent people? Well, do you think that, would you rather Iran have a nuclear weapon that they use on innocent people 5 years in the future? Come on. No one will ever trust Trump or the U.S. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that they really should, though. The world is a scary place, folks, and a lot of the time you have to think of people as they are neutral actors that are going to do what's in their best interests. And if you're assuming that a country is going to be nice to you because you're friends rather than doing what would be best for themselves, I think you're really naive. Iran has the right to have a nuclear weapon? What right? Is there a God-given right to nuclear weapons? So when you talk about rights, I think about the Bill of Rights, that we have a right to freedom of speech, we have a right to prosperity, we have things. So is there a right to nuclear weapons? Or is it countries have rights? Countries have God-given rights. One of those God-given rights is the right to pursue nuclear weapons. That makes zero sense to me. Here's how I think of it. I don't want them to have one, and I'll do anything that it takes to stop them. And that's just the way that the world is. It doesn't, I'm trying to make some sort of a bizarre moral argument about nuclear weapons. I mean, come on, man. You realize how ridiculous that is? Nah, the reality of it is this. Iran having a nuclear weapon would be a bad thing for the United States and for Israel, and Israel is not going to let it happen. Period. And it's kind of like, well, okay, North Korea has it. They shouldn't have been allowed to get to that point, but Obama let it happen. Was it worth starting a ground war over for North Korea? Maybe not, because nothing's happened yet. But if in the future North Korea shoots a nuclear weapon at South Korea, then we're going to go back and we're going to say, yeah, we should have just taken the ground war, right? Now, Iran, I think, is a slightly different situation because, North Korea, I think is kind of driven by this extremist, isolationist kind of view of things. And if we leave them alone, I think, generally speaking, that they're relatively unlikely to use a nuclear weapon. Iran is a different story. Iran is a country that was taken over by a radical Islamist regime in direct opposition to what the majority of the country wanted, and has oppressed that people now for decades, and has basically geared their entire country into opposition of the United States and Israel to its detriment at every step of the way, and they continue to persist. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would either use it, or the consequences of it on the geopolitics would be very, very negative. And either way, people would die. So, like, if you can go and throw a bunker buster in there right now, and the consequence is Iran attacks a couple of U.S. bases and maybe like 5 U.S. Marines die or something like that, totally acceptable trade-off in my book, compared to the millions of people that could potentially die from a nuclear weapon. Are you listening to stuff? You think you own the world or something? So again, you have to take the world as it is, man. See, you're trying to make an argument that, like, I would like the world to be like this. I think that things should be like this, right? Your view of people is that all people should have the same rights and privileges. That we would like all people to have the same opportunities too, even though we know that that's not really very practical, right? So if one country is able to have a nuclear weapon, then why shouldn't all countries be able to have a nuclear weapon, right? My position is, I don't give a fuck what you think is correct or what is fair or what would be morally correct. All I care about is what is in the best interests of me and my people, and it is just the absolute worst thing that could happen for me and my people, and for the people of Israel in particular, for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And you can hate that all you want, but this was predictable. We knew going all the way back to when they made the nuclear deal with Iran, right? That if Iran got close to having a nuclear weapon, that Israel would do something. And that's what we're seeing. Yeah, the maximum empathy position that ignores every existential variable. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Let's say I have a gun and I keep it in my drawer, and I know the lunatic down the street wants to buy one as well, but I know he is a lunatic. I don't want him to have one. Yeah. The arguments are the same. Well, he definitely chilled out this time, but it is probably the same guy, right? Do you guys see what I was saying though about like there's these 3 levels where that kind of makes me dislike this particular political segment, because the position is dumb to begin with, the way that they argue the position is dumb, and then the type of person that does it is dumb. It's just... So do you think Israel will not use nukes on Iran? So if Iran got a nuclear weapon and Iran fired it, then Israel would fire it. I think I would very, very highly doubt that Israel would do first strike or anything. Would Israel use it first? No. I mean, they've had nuclear weapons for like 30 years, dude. Why would they? This is one that is really funny to me. Okay, so Israel has nuclear weapons, and they got the nuclear weapons sometime around 1969, 1970. So they've literally had nuclear weapons for 50 years. Most people don't know this because Israel has tried to hide this fact the whole time. Now, so how do I know that that is a fact? Well, I think it was the late 80s, there was a guy that worked in their nuclear program, was kind of unhappy with the way that Israel was doing it. And so he had all of these photos and all of this stuff and leaked it to the US media. And he lived in the West for a long time, and gave interviews and all, gave all of this information on the nuclear program. And the Israelis entrapped him with a woman. They used the woman to lure him into a trap so that he essentially got kidnapped and taken back to Israel. And then he served in prison for like 16 years for treason, which he served. And now that he's out, he's like heavily restricted. Right. So that's the way that things go in Israel, man. But yeah, they've had nuclear weapons for a really, really long time. And not only that, but they were involved in other people getting nuclear weapons. For instance, they worked with South Africa in South Africa's nuclear program. Now, South Africa doesn't have nuclear weapons anymore. When the apartheid government ended, they dismantled their nuclear weapons. But Israel had basically been involved in deals with other countries to dealing with nuclear weapons at that time. And they did a nuclear test in the ocean in a place that was essentially owned by I think it was owned by South Africa. That they deny that it was them. It's the only confirmed nuclear explosion that nobody has ever taken direct responsibility for. But we know it's Israel. So, all of that sort of stuff. What makes you think that Israel would use a nuclear weapon first? Kind of doesn't make sense. Yeah. Okay. So APOL is hitting on something else that I really hate. Is this anti-interventionist group can't hide their anti-Semitism. It's like if you go on the Donald, you see these guys on the Donald all the time. It's like, should there be a war with Iran? And they'll say, well, let's not start a war. They're trying to entrench us in a war that's not necessary. I can understand that one, where it's like, you know what, it's not actually necessary. If you just ignore it, everything will go away, it'll be fine. That's a reasonable argument in some instances. Well, so far with North Korea, nothing has happened. So maybe it was a good decision to just not do anything with North Korea. But they'll never say it like that. They'll say it like, well, it's not a Christian country, so why should we care? I get people that's like that. That's like, I don't know, is that like a Southern conservative thing? Like we should help countries that are Christian countries, but if they're not Christian countries, we should not care or not help them. And because Israel is not a Christian country, I see that one a lot on Patriots.win in particular. Or they'll just point out that they're Jews, or they'll always make some sort of derisive comment about the Jews. Any type of news source or thing that you bring up that, disproves their arguments, or at least, it's information that seems to contradict the way that they see things, they're always going to bring up that it comes from, they're sponsored by Jewish lobbyists, or they've interacted with Jewish lobbyists in the past, or something like that. Which is one of those things where it's like, that lobby is everywhere. So like everybody's touched it. Come on. Like, it's just, they can't hide the anti-Semitism. Like at the end, they don't like them because they're Jews. And they're totally okay with Iran wiping Israel off the map. There's absolutely people like that out there on the left and the right. I hate it. I can't stand them. I really, really like the Jews. The ones that I've met in Utah were the nicest people to me. Some of the best relationships that I've ever had were with Jews. Yeah. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I've just been brainwashed by the Jews. I don't. Okay, well, it's 8 o'clock. I wish I could keep going. I would say though, there's a lot of good information out there that these people ignore. So please don't let the way that you wish that the world was negatively impact your trading and cause you to ignore good information or accept information from bad sources or ignore what is very likely to happen. I think my take is, I think that what is very likely to happen is the Iranian regime collapses soon. We're already starting to see some of the first warning signs that it's happening. And it does appear that Israel's objective now is regime change. So I think it's going to happen. Yeah, you probably. All right. Anyways, I got to get going. I will see you guys tomorrow. Even though it's Juneteenth, we'll be here tomorrow, and maybe that be a programming day. So I'll see you then. Stay excellent, team.